All right. Okay, let's get started. Boom. Yes, people. So this is the AfroFinLab. This is a live podcast where you can ask questions directly to a panel of crypto educators, ambassadors, and experts in order to make this crypto nonsense start to make sense for you. Okay, so all you people here who are watching live, thank you for joining us. All you people who are going to be listening on YouTube, we still don't know what cryptocurrency is in 2020. You still don't know terms like staking, blockchain, proof of work. We are here to help you, okay? So join us every Sunday at the same time, 5 p.m. EST, and we will answer your questions in a human way, okay? You're not speaking to robots. This is barbershop chat. So this is our very first time doing it with a live audience. So I just want to apologize in advance if there's any technical issues. But today we plan to talk about what cryptocurrency is, okay? Straight from the basics. What is cryptocurrency? Why would you want to own some cryptocurrency today? And how you can go about doing so, all right? So I'll start this off. The first thing you need to understand is the blockchain was only invented in 2009. So this is still fairly young technology, okay? But all you need to understand is before the blockchain was invented, it was impossible to have scarcity on the internet or in the digital world. Blockchain came along and changed everything in that sense, right? And Bitcoin was the first invention of blockchain, meaning that it was like the first scarce asset or scarce commodity that existed purely in a digital environment. So naturally, you know, computer geeks who realized this innovation, they started to collect these tokens. And as they became collected, we had a free market for them. These were on dark webs, different exchanges. And, you know, it went from 1 cent to 30 cents to $1 to $2,000 and built a whole economy around it, okay? The second thing you need to understand is not all blockchains are built equally, okay? So Bitcoin has its own blockchain, all right? There's other cryptocurrencies out there that use their own blockchain as well. And each blockchain is customly built for the purpose of what that cryptocurrency is supposed to do. All right. So in the case of Bitcoin, it was just built so that you could send wealth from one place on the planet to another. Just like how when the internet was first invented, the only thing you could do with it was send an email from one place in the world to another. So it was a very kind of basic primary application of the blockchain back in 2009. Now we have a whole bunch of uses for the blockchain, and mainly along the lines of decentralization. So you can have decentralized marketplaces, supply chains, decentralized smart contracts, etc. And without bombarding you with all the different projects that are out there, I want to bring our attention to the one that all of us here are very excited about. It's called the Cardano project. It started, when did it start, guys? Was it 2014, 2015? Back me up there, guys.
Yeah, it depends on how you count, right? From initial conception or from building the team. But I think we can trace its roots to 2014.
Yeah. And all I need to tell you at this stage is it is the state-of-the-art blockchain, okay? And we're going to unpack this more in future episodes. But just so we can move along now, it is the state-of-the-art blockchain, the most decentralized blockchain we have currently in existence. And we're just at the very bleeding edge of this thing to go global, okay? So when Satoshi Nakamoto, who is the anonymous person who invented Bitcoin, came about, he spoke about a lot of the systemic issues we have in our global economy. These issues cannot be addressed unless we have a blockchain which is able to scale to billions of users with smart contracts, with all the works that we can build on top of decentralized platforms that blockchain allows for. So Steve, let me ask you, are you following this so far? Is there anything else that I've said that you're not quite comprehending? Because you're the referee, so you have to call me when I'm going.
Nah, pretty much know the gist and the basics of cryptocurrency. Makes sense. I mean, back when I was 10, always been a big movie buff. I always fantasized about having a huge movie collection, which would be VHS, and then it went to DVD, and then the next thing, you know, we got the microchips. That the storage just kept getting smaller, and then you wonder where that's going to lead to. And nowadays, I don't have not even a quarter of that movie collection I had. Now everything's online. So I mean, it just makes sense. It definitely. I mean, you don't need a lot of imagination to realize this is where the world's headed.
Exactly. Especially in the times we're living in now. So yeah, like moving on to how you can get hold of cryptocurrency. Now, there's a multitude of ways to get hold of cryptocurrency based on where you are in the world, right? As being someone who's been in this space for like almost 10 years now, and like, you know, I'd say the easiest way, independent of where you are geographically, is to use one of these decentralized marketplaces called localbitcoins.com or Paxful. And they're essentially just like eBay, but for cryptocurrency. So you can go and set up a unique trade with an individual seller, like a real person, and the cryptocurrency will be held in a smart contract until the seller has confirmed that he's received payment. Now, there's loads of ways you can send money to the seller based on where you are geographically. So, I mean, in some places you can even meet people person to person and do a cash transaction. I wouldn't say that's the safest way to go about it. You can do bank transfers, and they're quite untraceable. You can, you know, just they send you their account details. You send them the money, and then because the cryptocurrency is held in a smart contract, and that smart contract will only release the funds once there is official confirmation that they have received wallets. And it's the same vice versa. If you can prove that you've sent the money and the seller hasn't released the cryptocurrency from the smart contract, you can go and debate that to the community, show proof that you sent that money to that seller, and it will be resolved within a few hours.
Hey, Tashoma.
Yeah.
We haven't talked a lot about smart contracts. Can you give the audience just a little bit more understanding of what a smart contract is and maybe how it compares to a traditional contract?
And before that, I have two more basic questions. One in the chat from Benny says there's no fee. He's wondering if there's a fee.
Oh,
and
yeah.
My question is, have you used it?
I was primarily buying my cryptocurrency through local bitcoins when I first started. I have to say, it is not the cheap. There was some feedback just there. Do you guys just mind muting your mics while I'm speaking? All right, cool. Yeah, so I have to say, it's not the cheapest. It's not the cheapest solution out there, but it is the most reliable if you're based anywhere in the world, right? Because you're usually going to find at least one person in your city that knows about cryptocurrency and is selling it, right? But it's a pro and con situation. Yes, it's available most places in the world, but you probably won't get the best price. And this is kind of where I wanted to segue into Sidney, who I know is like a lot more like experienced with, you know, trading, etc., because there are much cheaper solutions, much more convenient solutions for you based on where you're living, especially if you're living in the UK or the US. You know, you have the infrastructure set up for you essentially. So I don't know if you want to talk more about that, Sidney.
Yeah, sure. So here in the States, I'm in the States right now, and I typically buy my crypto right now through Coinbase. So Coinbase is a solution that's a regulated solution here in the United States. So really, you don't have to worry about the authorities or anything like that regarding cryptocurrency because they're in alignment with the law here in the United States. So it's a really safe place to buy cryptocurrency. And that website is coinbase.com. So there's something to understand, though. So specifically with Cardano, you cannot get Cardano on Coinbase. So if you wanted to get Cardano, you would have to get you can buy Cardano now with Bitcoin or with Ethereum. I think you can get a Cardano. That's one of the pairs. USDC, which is Coinbase's stable coin, and then Tether. You can essentially buy these tokens or buy these coins on Coinbase. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDC. and then you want to move those tokens to an exchange. So an exchange is a piece of software that has that basically puts buyers and sellers together. It has an order book, and sellers go on there to sell their cryptocurrency. And if you want to buy it, you can bid for that cryptocurrency to buy that cryptocurrency. So that gets to be a little bit more technical with Coinbase. And then also, if anyone ever uses Coinbase, in order to move tokens through Coinbase, you want to use their platform called Coinbase Pro. Okay, so the way that works is you purchase tokens on Coinbase, and then there's basically a button that you push that moves it over to Coinbase Pro. And by trading, either sending tokens from Coinbase Pro or trading on Coinbase Pro, it reduces the fees that you would pay if you decided that if you moved it from Coinbase, it would cost you more. So if you're using Coinbase and you want to move, you're not going to just buy tokens and leave them on Coinbase. If you want to move them, you want to move them over to Coinbase Pro first, because that reduces your fees, and then you can move them to different exchanges if you want to purchase cryptocurrency. So that gets a little bit complicated. So the easier way in the United States, at least, and not only in the United States. So in the US, there's Binance.us, okay? And then for a lot more jurisdictions outside the US, there's Binance.com. So in the US, we can't use Binance.com. Binance.com is a more mature platform. It's been around for a long time. It's got a lot of liquidity. But inside the US, Binance put together kind of a special, US-based platform just to make sure that they're abiding by regulations inside the country. And with Binance.us, you can connect your bank account right to the platform. So you can go on Binance.us, you create a profile on Binance.us, and then they're going to ask you some questions. They're going to want to they're going to want you to go through a process so that you can be identified as someone that's purchasing cryptocurrency. And that's important for KYC, which is know your customer, and AML, which is anti-money laundering laws. So you want to do these things because they make the system work the way that it's supposed to work.
These KYC measures also exist on localbitcoins.com or paxful.com. I think it's dependent on which country you say that you're based in. It can vary, but you should be able to buy a small amount of crypto per week without verification on these platforms. But it's always best to be try and get the top level, just because it's going to be a lot faster and simpler for you to get hold of cryptocurrency when you need it. Yeah, just wanted to put that point in there.
One more thing, Sidney. I'm familiar with Coinbase. I use it, and I know that Cash App is somewhat of a equally used app, or maybe even popular. Is that also available on Cash App?
Can you buy crypto on Cash App is what you're asking? Well, you can. You can buy crypto on Cash App.
Exactly. But
that was like one solution which I was a bit iffy to because I don't know how available it is outside of the US. I don't know if you can buy crypto with Cash App in the UK, but yeah. And Cash App is a super simple solution. And the cool thing about it is they allow you to take your crypto off of Cash App and do what you want with it, right? One great solution is if you buy Bitcoin using localbitcoins.com or any of these other services where you can't buy Cardano directly, all you have to do is just take your Bitcoin off of these platforms, send it to a wallet like simpleswap.io, and it will basically exchange your Bitcoin for Cardano at the going rate, and then just send the Cardano to your wallet address, your Cardano wallet address. And James is going to tell you how you can set up a Cardano wallet and become part of this community.
And we want to make sure that people can purchase cryptocurrencies, because I know that from a lot of people that I've heard from recently, that's a challenge, right? People don't necessarily know how to buy cryptocurrency. So there are these options. I think probably in the US, Coinbase is by far the most liquid and the safest. There are some other exchanges out there or platforms out there like Gemini, and Bittrex is another one. And again, like with Coinbase and also with Binance.us, and then with Bittrex, you can connect your bank account directly to the platform. That way you can purchase right from the platform. And I know a lot of people get concerned about using their bank account, you know, and this is what I do, and this is what I would suggest that you do. Just set up another bank account. That way, the funds that are important to you, that you don't want anything to happen to, are not exposed at all. And then you can buy whatever crypto that you want outside of this second bank account. And so, yeah, we can, you know, we're going to send out some links, and you know, and I'm mentioning this for the first time. You can also send an email to us if you have any questions. That way, if it's something that we weren't able to get to on here today, that you can reach out to us and get some answers on how to buy crypto based on where you're located in the world and the options that are available to you.
Nice.
Yeah, it took me a long time to wrap my head around all these options. So if your head is spinning right now, you're in good company. You know, we've all been spending a lot of time figuring this out, and that's kind of why this show exists, right? Because we know it takes a little while to figure out how to acquire crypto, but also in the longer term, this is kind of why we want to expose everybody to this right now, because once everybody has access to crypto, the market's going to change, right? It will be easier someday. And I think a lot of us expect that, you know, if you put in the work now of acquiring crypto, you're going to kind of get paid for that.
And okay? Yeah, exactly that. This is an early mover advantage, I'd say, to buy cryptocurrency at this stage, especially buying a project like Cardano, which has a very promising part. So promising. They've done a lot of work already up until this point, so that the future looks amazing, right? So once again, I'm going to reiterate, this is not financial advice we're giving here.
No way.
All we're trying to do is keep people in the know, okay? Because technology is advancing at a rapid rate. If your knowledge is power, so if you're in the know, you can use this to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Loads of people. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, loads of people use cryptocurrency for different reasons. I have to admit, right now, the majority of people are just speculating. Okay, but this technology can be used to solve like the world's most systemic economic problems if they're applied in the correct way. So at this stage, it's just a case of getting more people to understand the potential of this technology, so that they can use it to benefit themselves and their communities. So that's essentially the purpose of this podcast.
And I wanna piggyback on what you said, Tashoma, about this not being financial advice, although we are just exposing you to something that's going on. And one thing that I learned a long time ago is if you want to create wealth for yourself, one of the best ways to do it is to get in front of a wave, period. You know, back in the early 1900s, if you really saw the automobile as being something more that was going to be more in use and more valuable than the horse, and you got in front of that wave, you probably did really well, you know. And I mean, that happens all the time with, you know, telephones, cell phones. These are all waves that come along. And if you position yourself in front of these waves, then you can benefit from, you know, from the growth of the industry. And I just want to throw this out here, because this is something that just kind of, and again, this is not, we're not saying that this is what's going to happen for you. But this is just an illustration of something that is fact, that you can look it up, that has happened in general. And this is specifically regarding Bitcoin. And most people know Bitcoin now because it's the brand of cryptocurrency. When people talk about cryptocurrency, the one that they know most is probably Bitcoin. Some people may have heard of Ethereum, but there are thousands of them out there. So specifically with Bitcoin, back in June of 2010, the cost of one Bitcoin was 0.0008 cents. So not quite a penny. So back in 2010, June of 2010, the cost, the price for one Bitcoin was 0.0008%, 8 cent. I'm sorry. So if you had purchased $5 worth of Bitcoin in June of 2010, that same $5 would be worth about $70 million today. So again, this is we're not saying that this is what's going to happen for you. You can Google it, you can look up the price of it. All we're saying is that this is a wave, and this wave is going to continue not only from the currency perspective, but like Tashoma was saying, it's going to impact pretty much every part of our lives. And if you get in front of this wave, you can benefit from the growth of the industry.
So just putting a bit more historical context into it, isn't it funny to think, obviously I explained like 10 years ago, we never had blockchain, right? Or we probably just started to have Bitcoin in 2009. But 10 years before that was also the establishment of the first internet like fintech companies like PayPal, So when you really look at like the age of this fintech space in general, it's very, very young, and it was pretty much kickstarted by the birth of the internet in the 90s. And we can see how much innovation and how much change and impact the internet has had on our lives to this day. So, I mean, when we're looking at the potential of blockchain now, which is essentially like I can't say the final chapter, but it's definitely like the next stage of the internet in the sense that it allows us to operate in a decentralized manner, just like how the internet was initially created for. Blockchain allows you to do that in a way that can't be shut down by any central authority. It can't be censored. It has much better security protocols. It allows society to organize itself in a much more efficient way. So, you have to kind of look at how previous technologies were kind of slandered and ignored at the early stages for you to make sure that you're not one of those people who we'd later call a Luddite, 10 years from now.
Right. and to piggyback on that as well, Bitcoin is very, very, very expensive rat poison, just so you know.
What's the current price?
It's what, 10,700, I think, or something like that. One of our most famous investors, brilliant person that everybody looks up to, called Bitcoin rat poison. And wow, it's well known in the investing ecosystem that it's been called rat poison. And because folks, if you don't look at the technology, it's very hard to understand why it has value. But as soon as you take a look at the technology, then it starts to make sense. It makes sense to you. And we're just now embarking on this journey, and we got a long way to go.
So, like Steve, I'm just gonna ask a few questions like for you, because I imagine there's a number of people in the audience that are still like, all right, that's great, but the revolution hasn't happened yet. Like, I mean, so you expect me to just buy cryptocurrency and hold it? Is that the only thing you can do right now? Or like, are there other options for people who want to be involved in this space? Joshua, like maybe you could tell us more about your friend Zoe and how she's getting involved in cryptocurrency.
Okay. Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Awesome. Hi Steve, how you doing, man?
All right, what's going on, Josh? How you doing?
I'm good. So I'm good. If you missed out on the the chance to actually get involved in being a miner during when Bitcoin started, right now you can actually in a different algorithm, consensus algorithm called POS or proof of stake, what you can do instead of getting computational power and electrical power, consuming all those power, burning all those infrastructure just to mine Bitcoin, you can actually stake, buy cryptocurrencies, third generation cryptocurrencies like Cardano, and then you stake those coins, and it gives you the ability to actually make should I say how do I call it, make returns on your investment,
rewards.
like passive income. Yeah, rewards, gaining rewards, instead of you having to buy and build a whole mining machine, for you to actually make profits on your investment. So the opposite of that is actually so proof of stake basically allows for you to buy cryptocurrency and own cryptocurrency, giving you the right to actually get rewards once you stake them, and the stake pool actually writes a block. Then you can actually make passive income from the stake pools, from the stake pool making a block. So that that just helps to segue into what Zoe is. So Zoe is actually a stake pool, the first African-based stake pool run by a girl in Africa who is doesn't have any IT experience. Her name is April. So what she does is she just started following the guides provided by the community, and then she was able to create a stake pool where people can just stake their coins, their cryptocurrency that they bought, Cardano specifically, ADA. And once Zoe writes a block or validates a block, if you stake with Zoe or delegate your stake to Zoe, you can actually make a return on your staking. That just it just revolutionizes the whole crypto game for everybody, allowing for more people to partake in the whole process of securing the network, the Cardano network. I don't know if I was rambling, but that's just like the basic idea.
Yo, Steve, you have to say something if it's not making sense,
No, I get you. I totally get it. As a matter of fact, I was able to catch some of the previous podcasts on AfroFin, and I mean, it seems like the transparency is there, the trust is there. Like Sidney was saying, it's definitely it. From what it seems, this is where the world is heading. I remember a few years back, one of the heads of JP Morgan Chase was saying that Bitcoin would be a stupid idea. After a while, a few months later, he was purchasing it. JP Morgan came up with their own cryptocurrency. Facebook has it. Amazon has it. It's it's definitely where the world is heading. From my point of view, everywhere I go, I see a coin shortage, and I haven't looked into it personally, but it seems like we need an alternative, different currency. So Bitcoin is secure. It's it's got many upsides to it and very little downsides from what I can see. And with the current pandemic we have, we're only getting into a further amount of debt, which probably would end in an increase on taxes. So I can definitely understand from a business point of view, cryptocurrency would be a good way to get around that. Nobody wants to pay more in taxes.
So let me ask you a question, Steve. Like, I mean, why do you think it is that, I mean, it's been 10 years now since Bitcoin was invented. Why do you think there's like less people in our community, like, you know, the African community, like Black, Afro-American, Caribbean community that know about crypto or own crypto? Like, why do you think it's lacking in that area? Like,
that's a good question. And to simplify it, African Americans, we tend to trust something less that we can't feel. So as far as business ownership, you'll see a lot of Black people selling clothes, selling, you know, merchandise. When it comes to the stock market, things of that sort, we shy away from it. Black community was hit real bad when it came to the Great Depression. And ever since then, a lot of Black people been hiding their money under beds, and you know, we tend to shy away from the banks and we don't trust them. But it's playing it safe in this climate is not playing it safe at all. And money's always devaluing. It's called currency because it needs to move. So saving nowadays is it's a different way of blowing money, because gas prices are always going to rise. cost of living is always going to rise. So that's in a nutshell why we're so behind on this movement.
Do you think like there's anything that maybe the people like ourselves within the crypto community can do to like raise awareness, get more people excited about this transition that's happening here?
Honestly speaking, for myself, I was somewhat blown away by the first AfroFin podcast that I saw, and it spoke on the ability to use cryptocurrency as a credit line that is already linked to your past credit line, being able to take a loan out for a business or even to purchase a home. That's a big thing in we've all heard of the American dream, home ownership. So when you find out that you can now use a high yielding cryptocurrency line and loans to purchase a home, it seems like it's a no-brainer, pretty much. I don't need to be a financial advisor to tell me that buying cryptocurrency with a high yielding that's versus a bank loan or a bank savings account, when you're only getting pennies on the dollar, even less than that, and they flip your money into hundreds of thousands. We all know why the banks are rich. It's off our money.
Right. Steve, I have a question for you. So how long have you owned cryptocurrency?
It's I would say close to about 3 years. I've been
Wait, hold on a second. Hold up. You own cryptocurrency, Steve?
No,
I brought you on this show thinking you was a newbie.
No, as a matter of fact, I've been dealing with Forex for a while, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Forex. So
yeah.
I've just been that's always been my main thing since I've got into the age of digital currency and got introduced to it a few years back. But I mean, as far as Bitcoin, I was just like most people. I didn't see it coming until it was pop news, pop culture. And that's exactly why something like this is crucial, because this really seems like that moment.
What do you think is like most worrying or scariest about getting into this space or buying crypto?
Yeah, like why is it everyone's so hot on Forex, right? The majority of people lose their money trying to trade in Forex, but no one's interested in crypto. Well, at least that's what it seems like to me,
My explanation would be the network marketing companies, because that's how most people are introduced to Forex. That's how I was introduced to Forex. I was introduced to Forex by a network marketing company that knew more about network marketing than they did about Forex. So when I saw their videos talking about Forex, I did a little bit of research, but not enough to realize Forex was its own entity. So while I was paying monthly to be in a network marketing company, as soon as I found out that I can trade Forex without them, I started doing my research on who knew exactly what to do, how to make money in this game, versus spending my time with a network marketing company, paying monthly for, half or even quarter of the information that the actual pros knew, and the people that practice the mastery of the foreign exchange market.
I
totally get that.
So, like, do you feel like that's what we need to do in the crypto space, like form like networking groups and because it just seems all a bit kind of sharkish to me when I see these Forex gurus and like, yo, pay me $1,200 and I'm going to teach you how you can quadruple that.
Well, a community would definitely help. But it has to be centered around actual knowledge and the benefits versus that network marketing process of just introducing more people.
To be honest, I think that is one of the key strengths that Cardano or maybe
So Steve, can you hear
any
me?
other blockchains that have like staking options. They kind of
Okay.
sorry, what you
What
said,
would
John?
you say would be like the perfect way to actually onboard like the Black community onto the crypto space?
Well, we tend to listen to representatives, and that's a fancy way of putting it. We follow celebrities. Our celebrities, our actors, our rappers, our entertainers. I was going back and forth with somebody the other day and talking about why Black people and Black community follow rappers so much, and it's modern day poetry. That's what it is. These guys are the celebrity of the whole world. Just like all the past painters of the Renaissance art. So representatives, it would be my short answer for that one.
Awesome.
People will realize the power behind this, because I mean, for the most part, most celebrities, most entertainers, they're wall off. They know their lane. They know what they're doing. But then we need more actual financial advisors. Less people that's in the song and dance show.
So let me ask you this question too, Steve. So people that are listening to this either now or on recording, what will it be like for them in 5 years, 10 years if they don't get involved?
Same.
Well, like I said, with the current pandemic, one of the things I see happening is that tax raise to make up for the amount of debt we're in. Sidney, you were talking about our interest, our current financial interest it's near negative right now.
Well, it's 0%. Yeah, and we also printed $3 trillion in the last few months. Several months. Yeah,
that's right. That was this year alone, and we still have a few months left in the year.
Right.
So it's an election year. We got a lot going on, and sometimes we're just not paying attention to the most important thing. We're just paying attention to what's podcast more, what's presented to us more. And like I said, with that election year, that's the main focus on everybody's mind right now. But with this debt that we have, we're going to have an increase on tax, whether it happens this year, within the next few years. And like I said, businesses don't want that. It's hard enough being a business owner right now. So I foresee that there's going to be different set prices for if you're using cash versus if you're using a debit card or a credit card. And people are going to want to get around that. Either way, I don't want to go into a store and spend more. And the only thing, it's going to be a domino effect from what I'm thinking, that because businesses are going to start hiding more cash transaction, the debt and the taxes is just going to continue to go up, and ultimately leading to a cryptocurrency world.
So actually, all of this relates to a key point we wanted to make sure to make today, which is about the crypto wallets themselves. It's kind of indirect, but I think it's important for people to hear this, especially if you're new to the space. When you buy crypto via these methods that we named earlier, it's important as soon as possible to get your funds off of the exchanges and be holding them for yourself, okay? Because for all these reasons we've talked about, there's forces much bigger than us making decisions, and whether it's printing fiat or whether it's moving funds from this place to that place, you don't want to be part of that. And actually just 2 days ago, a major exchange called KuCoin was hacked. I don't know how much value was lost, but a certain amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum essentially went up in smoke for people who spent their money on that. Okay, so that can definitely happen. And it's essential that you start to have an idea of hey, once I acquire this, where am I going to put it? because that's all part of owning it for yourself, right? And I think there's a parallel to actually holding paper money versus some, like the ones and zeros in my bank account.
Jens, I think that's a really, really super important point, and probably one that we need to discuss in another episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the wallets, and the wallets not only from the perspective of having. So you mentioned a red flag word, hack.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that word.
Right.
So, but I thought that Bitcoin was unhackable. So how is it that KuCoin, or how is it that it got hacked if Bitcoin is unhackable?
That's exactly right. Well, KuCoin is not Bitcoin, right? It's one company's entry point onto the blockchain. DC, back me up.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, because I'm typing in the message here about the same point. It's not that Bitcoin or Ethereum was ever hacked, right? It's the centralized exchange, their database, right? Their keys that they keep and are hackable, right? Just like any other centralized database, like we saw hack the other day, right? Like these things, everything, no matter how many, 2-factor, 3-factor, these things can still be hacked and corrupted. So it's important to know that if you don't own your private keys to your crypto wallet, you don't actually own that crypto. What you own is called an IOU, right? It's kind of like when you go and deposit your money in a bank today, right? I deposit my money in Bank of America, and they tell me that, hey, we're like our man's Harris said, they're going to go and loan that out, and if that isn't, if that isn't liquid for me to come and withdraw that at a certain time, I don't have money. All I have is an IOU. The same concept exists on centralized exchanges. The only time you own your Bitcoin or your ADA is when you remove it from that exchange you purchased it on into a dataless or your Woi wallet, right? In the case of Bitcoin, a Bitcoin wallet. So that's the real concept here. It's not the crypto getting hacked. It's the exchange that's holding your crypto in what we call hot wallets, right? That is actually what's getting hacked, right? Their centralized database instead of keys, not the actual cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I think that's important. And another question. So, or this is more of kind of a statement. When you get into moving your keys, or you get into moving your crypto off of exchanges or into wallets, you have to be really careful, because if I send Bitcoin, if I own Bitcoin, and you get this long number that you kind of have to use, it's your address that you use in order to move crypto from wallet to wallet or address to address, and it's a long number that you use that represents your key for the most part. If I send Bitcoin to Ethereum, what happens? So if I send my Bitcoin from the exchange or from my Bitcoin wallet to an Ethereum wallet, what happens?
Usually, I mean, there's a lot of safeguards on these websites now that don't allow you to send it to a foreign address, like from a Bitcoin to Ethereum wallet. If it doesn't alert you and be like, hey, this doesn't work, it usually gets held up on the blockchain and then reversed back to the account that it was sent from.
Okay.
I think there's been cases where people have got the address wrong. Like they had a Bitcoin address and they were going to send it to their friend who had another Bitcoin address, and they got one of the characters wrong and it ended up somewhere completely different.
Somewhere completely different.
If that happens, you're kind of screwed, and you're just like hoping that whoever received the Bitcoin sends it back to you. And luckily enough, we do have a really nice community. I mean, we have a story that April, who set up the Zoe pool, I mean, she lost her pledge one time and then someone helped her out, but you can't rely on that, always double check your addresses before sending. Copy and paste, save the addresses in your wallet, you know what I mean? So you don't have to keep on typing them in. There's loads of safeguards, and in fact, I think we should definitely follow that up after that episode with a guide, safety practices, etc. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to wrap this up now, guys. We're sticking to
I just want to say
45-minute episode. So, guys, if you have any extra questions or anything you want to ask us directly, I beg you go to AfroFinLab.com, sign up and register with us for the next episode next week. Send us your questions in advance and we can start to tailor a little episode for you.
We have two email addresses created now as well. So there's a buy at AfroFinLab, AfroFinLab.io, and then there's also a questions at AfroFinLab.io.
Awesome.
So if you have specific questions, as a result of this, send them to questions. And if you want to know more about buying crypto before you actually jump in, send us an email, and I'm sure one of us will be able to figure out a way to help you out in order to do that safely.
Boom. Guys, I think that was a great first episode. Hope to see you again next week. Steve, thank you for taking the time to come on and referee for us, man. You did a great job.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks
Steve.
for having me, guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
We hope you come on next week as well, the weekend after that. So yeah.
Well, you know what? COVID messed me up too. I actually worked today. So, but you know what? I definitely take this over work any day. This is where we're heading. So it's a smart choice.
Yeah, cool.
Good to have you here. And,
yeah, good to have
and April just showed up in the chat. Shout out to April at Zoe Pool for showing up.
Hey, shout out to Zoe Pool. Making them steak rewards. I love it.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Listen to